Hello, everyone. Welcome to the online Masters in Management Alumni Insider Session. We're excited that you're here with us today. My name is Stephanie. I'm one of the enrollment counselors supporting the online graduate programs for Ohio University. The session this evening will get you acquainted with the program director, Dr. Amy Taylor Bianco, the program details, and then introduce you to our alumni who will share their experience with you. While we're going through the presentation this evening, please don't hesitate to add your questions into the chat so that we can cover those at the end. To start off, I'd like to introduce the program director, Dr. B. If you would tell us a little bit about yourself and the curriculum.
Absolutely. It's great to be here with you, Stephanie, and with our alumni panelists. The best thing is seeing alumni from this program. It really is incredible. So I have my background is in business leadership, sort of business leadership and coaching, more from the psychology end, but looking from everything from human resources kind of over to the analytics side. So here at Ohio University in our College of Business, we have a broad combination of specializations, and that's what we do best is combine unique combinations to kind of create degrees that are specific to individuals. So let me go forward and talk about what the Masters of Science in Management can do for you. So it all kind of settles on this, and this is a recent survey that came out, but I'm sure, and from McKinsey & Company, but I'm sure that you have felt this, seen this, many times. We know that people don't quit companies, they quit bosses, right? So we know a lot of times that that's what makes us quit. It's our immediate environment. So if we look at it that way, then managers are the single biggest determinant of employee satisfaction. Managers are performance. And we haven't always looked at it this way in the past. We used to think it's the individual employee, it's the leader all the way at the top. But I think more than ever, we can see the unique and critical importance of the manager. So students in this program are training, maybe they already are managers, or they're fresh out of college and they're training to be managers in different areas. They also have unique skills that allow them to be an individual contributor as well. So let's go on to the next slide a bit here. So we have a number of different certificates. So everybody gets a management and leadership certificate. That's their first 3 courses. And that's a deep dive into leadership development. And really, it's about career acceleration. It's everything from, literally, who am I? How do other people see me? That kind of 360-degree feedback, one-on-one coaching, to spending time with executives, spending time with people who are in the field and learning from them. Then students choose from 2 different certificates, and those range a lot of different areas, from analytics, supply chain, sales, business venturing, human resources, and then we have another data analytics one as well. So the program prepares you for leadership, management, problem solving in ways that use different sets of skills together. So it's that problem solving that allows you to use expertise in your combined certificate areas. So you end up with really 3 specializations, one in management and leadership, and then 2 other areas. So with those 3 specializations, and then a capstone set of a little bit of coursework and a project that lets you consult and put that together, you can prepare yourself for many careers, most careers that you would want to look to in business. So here are some of the positions that people have gone to. A lot of people have stayed in their own company. Others have made big moves from company to company or even industry to industry. Some folks have started new businesses. Some folks have started different enterprises as a result of the program. And one thing that's for sure is everybody continues to need each other because we have these unique set of skills. So you can see here, we've got lab managers, project managers, people on the medical side, human resource manager, quality, talent, management consultant, And I bet I haven't hit exactly on the three people here and the unique, close, but not quite, on the unique specializations they have. So I can't wait to get over to them. But we know that 93% of the people in the program saw improvement and promotability since entering the program. So not even waiting till after graduation, but since entering the program. So it's an affordable degree that actually pays off pretty quickly as well. Um, an MBA or something like that can pay off over time and can give you broad information, broad interest areas over the course, over the breadth of a business. This allows more promotability and movement within functional areas and kind of across functional areas. So let me move forward. All right. So just briefly on admissions requirement before we get to our panelists here. So admissions requirements, we're really looking at a holistic admission process. So it doesn't, the specifics almost don't matter because we're going to look at all of you. We're going to look at, all the pieces you submit. So bachelor's degree, we're talking about a 3.0 GPA. You may have gotten that 20 years ago. You may have done just not quite that well 20 years ago, but you're coming back, or you may have done, really well. We're looking at experience as well as academics. So right now we're only requiring one letter of recommendation, and that's because it's pretty easy to figure out other information that we need to with our applicants. The application fee, $50, and a lot of flexibility. So we don't require knowledge tests like the GMAT or the GRE because we're not requiring specific knowledge. In fact, we're bringing in people with lots of different sets of knowledge. So everywhere from your individual who's just out of school to your individual who's been out a long time and maybe looking to, develop new skills or kind of hone skills that they had and they want to continue with. It's mainly asynchronous, but the synchronous part is the fun part, I think. We'll see what you guys think, but it's that community, that sense of belonging. So there is an online aspect to it. You get the benefits of that, but you really get a community that you don't normally get in online programs. You feel part of something that you continue to contribute to and be a part of. So we have, courses each semester, core courses, and other courses as well. So that's the basics on admission requirements. And you can ask any questions there too.
Excuse me, Dr. B, the only thing that I would add is if students right now finish their application by Halloween, we're waiving the application fee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Because we believe in Halloween here at Ohio University.
It's good timing before the holidays. It just is.
It is. It definitely is. That's fantastic. All right. And then, good. So any other questions there, or we turn it, yes, to our next slide? I think we're going to move soon to having our alumni panelists. So we have a number of different people with different backgrounds. So I'm going to turn it over first to Maria Johnson. You will absolutely love working with Maria, hearing from her. I certainly did. And I still get the pleasure of talking to her every once in a while, as often as we can, the way she's developed in her career and is kind of traveling all over the country, and we just get in a conversation where we can. But Maria, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were when you started the program, kind of what you did in the program, and just briefly what you're doing now.
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Maria Johnson. I am the manager of testing and implementation at Subway's World Franchise Headquarters. And that is a recent move since I graduated in August of 2022. Yeah, 2022. Yeah. Yeah. Time just moves by so quickly. So I finished up in August of 2022, and then as recent as this March in 23, I moved jobs, and I can say it was mainly because of the skills that I got from this program. And this program was very helpful in my previous career, and even more so in my career now. I got my certificates in supply chain management and business venturing and entrepreneurship, which has been great for me because I work with small business owners who own Subway franchises. And that business venturing entrepreneurship certificate has really helped out and kind of relating to those business owners and helping them develop their business further. But yeah, that is a quick blurb about me.
Thank you. All right, do you want to hand it to the next person?
Sure, Nick Winenberg.
Hey guys, my name is Nick Winenberg. I'm the current MSM student president. So I'm not quite an alumni yet, so surprise, but I do have one more course until I hit that big old capstone. I own a couple of businesses here on the east side of Cincinnati. I'm involved with a couple nonprofits as well. I originally pursued the program because of flexibility and the certificates that were offered. For me, that was a major differentiator. The fact that you could end up with 3 certificates plus your master's is a huge differentiator that we haven't seen elsewhere through the research. My certificates were entrepreneurship and data analytics, which I think were as far apart as possible, but I benefit hugely from each of the programs. I learned how to be a complete boss of Excel spreadsheets. At the same time, the entrepreneurship really lets that creativity flow, and some of the conversations you have and ideation has been absolutely fantastic. And I did start this program with a 1-year-old, so it is definitely possible to do with a family, and I hope we can dig a little bit more into that as well. But if you do have any questions about the MSM program, you still got me for about 6 months as student president, so feel free to shoot me an email.
Phenomenal. Thank you, Nick. And Marius. See, Marius got the logo up there.
Oh,
Marius
yeah.
Lancaster.
Thank you guys for having me. My name is Marius Lancaster, as Amy said before. So just to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I actually graduated back with Maria in August of 2022, and then I jumped right into my career. I actually work as a licensed representative for Fidelity Investments. I ended up, like I said, just jumping right out of graduating, right into the job. I really didn't have much of a financial background, but I went through the path of licensing and getting my FINRA Series 7 and 63 licenses to become essentially a registered rep or a trader, as many may think. But it's been extremely rewarding having the opportunity to engage with everyone in the program. I will say I spent some time as the vice president of engagements hosting our fireside Q&As. So I got to connect with a lot of folks. Even now, I still network really heavily on LinkedIn with everybody in the program. So you might just see me as a familiar face. And if you ever have any questions, I'm more than happy to connect with you guys and talk some more.
Thank you so much, Marius. And that's a huge thing about people in this program is they do jump in and really get involved. It kind of causes you to. And there's enough flexibility that you can do that. So Marius was leading our fireside chats, turned that over to Nick. Maria was leading as the president, turned that, or Nick opposite way, so you both kind of, everybody here has done something, put something of themselves into it, I think without really hurting their, the rest of their life, with still having a good balance and a good, professional life and personal life. So let's move to Al now. Al Callow.
Hi, my name is Albert Callow. I graduated from the MSM program in December of last year, on the same day that my son graduated from Akron University of Akron with his bachelor's degree. So I attended his graduation instead of mine, as a good parent would, right? But it tells you a little bit about myself, right? I'm not a spring chicken by any stretch of the imagination. Actually, I think Dr. B and I were in the same high school year of graduating. So
that's right.
Yeah. So I started this whole program a little bit later in life. But I can tell you that through all my experience, I've been in telecom for 27 years, and then now in telecom and technology for the last 7 years. And so being in anything technology related, it's a very wide open field. And one of the benefits that I gained from this program, well, not just one, I mean, there's so many, right? But the moment that I mentioned at work that I was going back for my master's, the company immediately looked to me to move into a leadership role within the company, because I had some skills that were very important to the company. And so I was fortunate enough to be recruited by our executive vice president at the time, literally at the same time that I was starting this program. And then through the whole 2-year process, I went from director of customer experience to director of quality assurance to associate vice president of technical services. And now I'm still an associate vice president. And now I'm handling special projects for the company with our largest accounts. So I'm the guy that literally goes around to our different departments and pokes people in the eye, for lack of a better term. I have a lot of skills in being able to do that. And I think what the MSM program did was it prepared me to do that, but in a professional manner, right? I say that jokingly about poking people in the eye, but you develop the skills in this program that help you navigate within, corporate structure, and it gets you recognized because of the way and the fashion that you're doing it. I also acquired the supply chain management certificate as well, and the business analytics as well. So like Nick, we're Excel spreadsheet masters, right? But all those pieces combined, because we are in a technology industry in my company, they help at every facet of what we do, right? We have a product that we have to worry about the supply chain, and then we have the ability of huge databases that we need to look at. So all of this is just, I joked with Dr. B while I was taking the course, because I kid you not, it was as if Dr. B was speaking to my boss at work and assigning me the same work that we were learning in class. So it seemed extremely relevant. And so, I saw so many benefits from it. But it's something that if I could do this all over again, I would have just done it when I was younger. But I think I was in the right place in the right time with the right professors and the right classmates. So I truly enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Al. And Stephanie, should we turn it back over to Stephanie here?
Thank you.
Host.
Yeah, we appreciate all of you sharing and giving us some background. We will go ahead and I think just open it up to questions. I know I've got a couple of frequently asked questions that will start us off, and then students, as you have questions, please go ahead and post them in the chat. I know we've got a lot of the lines are muted, so unfortunately I don't think we'll be able to hear you ask them. But if you don't mind just dropping them into the chat, and then I'll be able to ask those as we go. I do have one that I do get quite a bit. That's a frequently asked question. Students ask, I have a family and a full life, and yet if I do the program, I'd like to be as involved and take advantage of as much as I possibly can. And I know a lot of you were very heavily involved. We've got a couple of current student president, former student president here on the line. So how did this work for you? What was your strategy? Would you share more? And I think, Nick, if you want to kick that off for us, and then we can kind of pass it around the group.
Sure, I was gonna do rock, paper, scissors with Albert, so I feel like it's fine. We'll just dive right into it.
Awesome.
Yeah, so when I originally looked at this program, I had a 1-year-old. I owned 3 companies. I was on 2 nonprofit boards, and you would think that, I mean, it was a pretty crazy time for me to kind of think about getting a master's program. But kind of what Albert said with talking about the relevancy of it, I really was drawn to the program because the questions that I was having in my companies, what's happening with population demographics? What are we going to do with big business? How is AI going to impact? When I started talking to Dr. B and Dr. Luke Petaway about those questions, they were like, you should consider a master's. I'm like, absolutely not. No way. I'm not doing it. Higher ed's not for me. But when I started looking more into it, but that flexibility has been hugely helpful. And I think my strategy for it more than anything else has been you get out what you put into it. So if you go and you engage in the coursework and you engage professors and you engage with the MSM leadership team, you really do get this holistic education and experience, and the network is just incredible. And it is very doable. And I can say that with a screaming toddler in the background and a pretty crazy life at home. And it's because it's the nice mix between synchronous and asynchronous. So realistically for me, it was if you had that 1 to 2 hour course throughout the week, just scheduling your time around that one course. And then through the workday or right when you get home or after your kid goes to bed or whatever that barrier is happening in your life, plan yourself an hour to go back and do your work. And as long as you have decent time management skills, you can actively get it done without it being this major stressor. But it does take that kind of team approach with it. I'm trying to think of other piece of advice for it. And then just always be receptive and have those conversations with professors. If you are struggling or falling behind, I truly don't think I've ever seen a faculty as understanding as the MSM program, and they're legitimately willing to work with you. And not in like a, I want to say my mom is sick, so I don't have to go to school today, but in a, they're actually understanding and they'll help you with assignments. And they will, I mean, I think probably the best example for it was I was struggling because I was psyched out when I was doing a exam in one of the analytics courses, and I messaged the professor, Dr. Bill Young, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I got like 9 minutes left in this exam. This question, I'm very confused about. The wording is really wonky." And he messaged me back the exact same minute. So, I mean, you can't get that kind of reception anywhere else. So the professors genuinely care and they're willing to work and be flexible as you are as well. So, does that answer the question, Stephanie? Al, did I miss anything? I mean, I know you have kiddos too, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, my kiddos are a little older, but you know, if I can add some dimension to this, right? Like, you know, Nick, you have a young, you know, child at home, and so I got my bachelor's degree older in life too, right? So I started in 2008, working on my bachelor's degree, and I graduated in 2017 with my bachelor's degree. So it took me almost 10 years to do it, and my kids were still in school, and it was something that, you know, as a father, you know, and everybody's situation is different, but as a father, you know, I'm one of those dads that instead of telling you what you should do, I showed my kids what they should do, right? And there was very little pushback, you know, because they saw dad was leaving work at 5 o'clock, running home, throwing a sandwich down his throat, and then heading to school, because I did it here locally through Lorain County Community College, and then, you know, every day till 10 o'clock, right? It was this it seemed like it was endless at the time, right? And then when I graduated in 2017, I said, you know, my sons walked up to me in the auditorium in Akron, and I said, "I'm never going to school again." Right? And then this thing happened at work where someone recommended that I go get my master's. And at the time, you know, by that time, my oldest had graduated from high school, and my youngest was a graduate of the 2020 COVID crisis, right? And it just seemed like everything, it was the right time for me to do it. And it was a sacrifice that the whole family, even when my sons were young, they were well aware of. Like, they knew why I was going to school, right? And then now that I've finished my master's, both of my sons, and I forgot to tell you this, Dr. B. So my youngest goes to Cleveland State, and they presented the Cleveland State students with master's degree programs. One of them being with OU, and now he's considering his master's degree through OU. So he's going to probably do something with writing, and because he's in the film and media. So again, I made it real. I made it acquirable for my two sons. And I think if there's any message that you know, a family can give, or a father can give to their children, is you set the reality for them, right? You set the expectation that, you know, if dad can do it, right? Because sometimes they don't think we're so cool, right? But if dad could do it, so can they. And my oldest son is also now thinking about getting his master's. He just came over the other day and he goes, Dad, I feel so lost. He did his 6 years in the Air Force and he's working for Progressive and he got his degree in IT. And he's like, Dad, what else do I do? I go, Christian, you might want to consider your master's. Right. So, but again, I think, for me, I had to find the reason why. And for me, it was, what's going to be the quality of my life once I acquire that degree? And that became very important for me and my wife, right? So I'm hoping that I'm less than 10 years away from retirement. But that became very important for me. And I will tell you that it's paid off in dividends. I've had multiple promotions, and then the other thing, like Nick is involved with nonprofits, right? So I'm involved. I was former president of the Hispanic Fund. I'm currently the vice president of El Centro, which is a local social services agency. I'm also on the board of the Ohio Hispanic Veterans Memorial. And I just was asked last week to be on the Lorain City School Board Endowment Fund for giving grants to students. So there's a lot of things that happen within your community as well. So if you're at all involved in your community, please know that the education that you receive from OU is noted by everyone around you. They will feel it. They will see it in you, and you can become, a significant role in some sort of environment, whether it's a nonprofit or your company. So, again, I found my why, and my why was my son's. And everyone else needs to find theirs as well. So,
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I was gonna say I'll go ahead and jump in. I have a little bit of a different kind of aspect from joining this program. I do not have any kids. However, I am in the restaurant industry, and in my previous job, I did travel a lot and kind of had some crazy weird hours. And it's like Nick said, with this program, it's all about what you put into it, engaging with professors, joining those fireside chats and those opportunities the leadership board puts forth for you. And really, it's a sense of community that you get with this program, as evident of all of us up here. Like, we all are very supportive of everybody's backgrounds and families, and that's just because we are part of this program. It really opened up a world of doors for me, and totally changed my life and changed my world, like I said earlier. But being able to kind of customize what I wanted to do with my master's degree, I always wanted to pursue a master's degree, just didn't know the right time, didn't know the right program until I came across this one. I knew I didn't want to get an MBA, but because I'm also really bad at math. And so this was a program that I was able to put kind of the people skills and the management skills and leadership skills that I have and put them forth and put them up front and of the stage. And this program was great, and it was able to be kind of flexible, and you get in what you put in, and being able to kind of manage your time with classes is the way to go, and how you can be successful.
No, and just kind of picking back off of what Maria said there, when I got into the program myself, I found myself in a rather interesting situation because I was dealing with some health issues. I was actually undergoing a spinal cord surgery at the time of finishing up my undergrad at Ohio University in Athens. And as I was finishing that up, it was also during the height of COVID during 2020. So realistically, jumping out into the workforce, that wasn't something that I could do, but I did really want to hone in on some of the skills that I had. Like a lot of folks out there, I wasn't the most math minded. It's crazy to me now that I work in finance, but I wasn't the most math minded person. And I did want to really get my people skills together and really solidify some of the leadership skills that I had gotten while working at Ohio University University. There, I took a number of different positions on campus in leadership roles, and I wanted to really see how far I could push myself. And even though I did end up moving away, I actually did the program completely remote from Columbus at the time. And it was completely new city to me. I'm actually from Cincinnati. That's where I live here now. But I was able to, with the support of a great partner at the time, but also all of the people that you see in front of you right here, get through what was really a difficult time for me personally when it came to my health, but also just kind of pushing through, it basically felt like I was a student for almost 6 years straight, so just pushing through all of that and making sure that I always kept my best foot forward. Having the people behind me here in the MSM program, I don't know that I could have done it without such supportive folks and such a flexible environment. And that really speaks to just the amount of value that you can find here in the program, and just the amount of value that I think all of us find in different ways in the program.
That's hugely helpful too, and we're all coming into it from different places, but I think that you're each saying that you were met with incredible support. And the classes, right, we're only talking, maybe an hour or two a week of synchronous time. So it's all on you, right? The asynchronous, but you're there for each other. So yeah, I just wanted to give that sort of number that we were talking about. And Stephanie, if you want to bring us.
Awesome. Yeah. So I know we have another question. I think this is about potentially transferring skills from a different career field. So one of our participants this evening has a background in healthcare, saying that they're not very business-minded and not feeling super confident in math, worked in direct care for over 25 years and wants to see how they can transfer the skills to more remote business side of the healthcare industry. So Dr. B, maybe if you'd like to kind of start, and then if anybody has any insight onto how they could pivot into the healthcare more business industry.
Absolutely. So part of what we do is an assessment, a Hogan assessment that gives people data about themselves. It gives people kind of reputational feedback about themselves, like how other people see them, how people above them, people below them. And then we work through a lot of different things that help people to determine what careers are for them, maybe what to take, what to keep from their prior career, and what to let go of as they move into a new area. We do get a lot of healthcare professionals. We get certain groups, but there are healthcare professionals that come back because they don't want to be doing that direct piece anymore. They just don't. And I'd love to hear what panelists say about how you can kind of parlay the skills into a different option for yourselves.
So you also want to go first? You may take it. All right, cool. So first, I failed calculus 3 times. So when it comes to the math mind, same, honestly. And even coming from the business perspective of it too, it gives you a really holistic education approach with it, mostly because of Hogan assessment and leadership. And coming from the remote side of the healthcare industry, that is something that's being disrupted hand over foot right now, as I'm sure you're well aware of what you were seeing in telehealth and virtual visits and all the different things that are kind of happening. So there was a couple different people that I networked with, the entrepreneurship portion of it or the business venturing portion of it, that was from Cardinal Health, was a couple of them, and there's a couple more different people from some of the major groups. So not only was it very interesting to hear their perspective of some of the innovation that we're seeing inside the industry, but just having that networking opportunity to be talking with doctors and nurses and people that are pursuing the MSM program outside of your traditional scope. And I think that actually goes with the other question that was offered in the same idea with the pivot. There is a ton of networking. And for me personally, that was probably the most valuable thing. No offense, Dr. B, the courses are amazing, but the relationships that you're making along the way and the amount of exposure that you're getting to such a diverse skill set And I truly think like, and I don't want to speak poorly about any program, but the MSM program, I mean, you have Al there, and out to Al's point earlier, he has 10 more years till he retires. I have 40 more years till I retire, right? Marius has like 50 years more. So you get a really diverse amount of skill sets and networking levels and career pathways to kind of be able to pull the experience from. So that's been a good way to kind of help pivot those ideas in coursework. Did that help at all? Did I just speak in circles?
Fantastic. That's see if they type in anything else, but that's really helpful. Does anybody want to add?
Well, I was going to ask too if we can elaborate on pivoting your career path, because we do have another question more in line with just generally pivoting a career path. And then how had access to alumni networking and career placement, any co-ops, anything like that, how did that all help you?
So I most recently, I don't say pivoted career paths, but I pivoted from a very small restaurant corporate structure to one of the world's largest corporate restaurant structures. And I do have the MSM to thank for that, because in my interviews, it was a talking point that I had, but it was also something that my interviewers asked me, like, tell us more about your graduate program and what you did and how it is going to impact your role here. So that was very fun to answer, because I answered that very quickly and very easily. But even going from the same industry, from different businesses within it, just like the organizational development part of what I learned in the MSM program really helped me prepare for what I was walking into, and the culture and the organizational structure and all of those things that come along with a corporate office. I kind of got a base of it with the MSM program, kind of what to expect and what to expect with joining a big corporate office. And yeah, I know it's not really pivoting. I did have a career change, and the MSM did help me a lot with that career change.
Just to kind of, this isn't really a pivot, but it kind of speaks to the career placement. Working with Elizabeth Garino in the Grad Cat program, with our career center, it was extremely helpful in getting myself in my role at Fidelity. Just being able to kind of talk with her about, reworking my resume, actually going through interview processes, interview steps, just different strategies, things like that. I want to say when I was really, hitting it hard with just getting out of the program, trying to find that job right before, because like I said, I had graduated and then I think submitted my final paper, and the very next weekend I was actually starting my brand new job. So there was no time in between that. But really getting to the nitty gritty with her, discussing those strategies. I want to say she talked me through maybe 3 or 4 different job opportunities before I landed on Fidelity. And just being able to have someone in my corner through that process that was extremely stressful was extremely helpful, because she's someone that when I did just recently celebrate my 1-year anniversary, she was one of the first people that I reached out to, just letting you know, like, it's hard to believe it's been 1 year, just wanted to celebrate with you, because I feel like with so many people throughout this program, you'll want to celebrate those successes. So even in that career placement, if you're not looking necessarily to pivot, but you're really looking to get started, we definitely have folks here that are going to help you in that process.
If I could add to that, I didn't so much pivot. I was 14 years I spent of my career between the last company I worked for, traditional telecom, to this company. I spent it in as a sales engineer. And so it was involved with sales, right, with all the salespeople. And then when I pivoted into this role, these different types of leadership roles, it's been extremely good for my bank account, right? But also at the same time, the level of respect that you get within the company is huge as well. But for me, I noticed the biggest, one of the biggest things that's opened up in my head. And again, you know, I've been in a career over 30 years. And the biggest thing for me is that I now have options, right? So if I wanted to go to another career path, like if I wanted to go to something other than technology or something other than communications, there's a lot of doors that are now open, because what they're looking for are leaders that can follow a structure. You know, we learned so much during this MSM program. They're looking for leaders that have the experience working in these jobs, but also moving from those jobs and moving up within those jobs. And I think what the MSM program does is it adds to that experience that you already have. This is like the icing on top of your experience. It really is. And so people, you know, when these recruiters or these HR departments start looking at you when you do want to make a career change, pivot into a different career possibly, it becomes much more possible. So I've had several interviews, because I'm always trying to do better, right? I'm always, not that I hate my job, but I'm always trying to challenge myself, and I enjoy a good challenge. But so far with the interviews that I've had, amazing interviews, great questions that are being asked from both sides. But I'm still looking for that fit, right? So maybe 6 months down the road, I may find something that's a really good fit that maybe I can do the last couple of years of my career in, something that I would really feel fulfilled in. So if that's something that you're looking for, the MSM gives you the tools to be able to do something like that, because then you're prepared with everything that you need to go and do that work at another company or another type of business that you want to be involved with. So if I heard someone was in nursing, you can move into, you know, manufacturing if you have all the right tools with you, and that's what the MSM does.
Thank you. That's fantastic. I think we've had a lot of questions career-wise and pivot. You know, one of the things that I know I myself has experienced from, you know, pursuing higher education, others, development of yourself. What has that looked like for you, not just professionally, but how have you internally grown, changed within yourself, personal beliefs in you? Would you mind sharing that?
I will tell you, for me, the way that I grew up, I never thought I was going to get a master's, right? Like, I'll be honest with you, I never thought I was going to get a bachelor's. And, you know, I was a working class guy. I was in the union, right? I was a union rep for a time. I thought that I was going to have to be climbing telephone poles and climbing, you know, crawling through the mud for my entire career. And personally, what this did for me was every time I passed the class, you know, all the way from my undergrad, all the way up until December of this past year, I was shocked, right? Like, I'll be driving around with my wife now, and we're talking about, you know, our adult children and kind of things we want to do in the future. And I'll still tell her, I go, I can't believe I got a master's. I mean, we were just talking about it the other day, and I was just like, I still can't, I know I got it, right? I worked my butt off for it. But it was one of those things that, because of everything that I learned, you know, and it's funny because when I was on campus this past August, I spoke to Dr. Cimelli, and we were talking about the class that she taught, and my wife was with me. And my wife made the comment, just listening to the few minutes that Dr. Cimelli was talking about biases and things like that. My wife said, I wish I would have gone to college. And of course, what did I say? You still can, right? So I think,
Great.
as far as personal growth, it's it's given me a lot more confidence, especially in when I'm dealing with the community like I do. And my family looks at me different. I think they respect the struggle. Anybody who doesn't respect the struggle doesn't understand it, right? But your family will understand it. Your friends, your parents, your girlfriend, boy, whoever it may be, if they understand it, then you feel it, and you feel more accomplished because of it. But for me, it was, I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. I came from Brooklyn, New York to Ohio, and we lived on the poor side of town. So for me, it was this huge growth. It was just like I acquired something that I never thought I was going to acquire, and I did it on my own, right? Because not only did my undergrad help me a lot with that, but the leadership, the professors at OU made this so much more relatable to me, because they just understood, right? They understood where I was in life and what my goals were. And that's the one thing that really kind of blew me away. I remember talking to Dr. B for quite a while after one of our sessions, and I kind of told her what my plan was. So just the simple fact that the faculty will communicate with you to find out what makes you tick and how they can help you get there, I think that's incredibly huge. You don't see that every day. You won't get that from sitting in a big auditorium with 150 other students. I think that personal touch means a lot. So that helped me grow tremendously from this whole program.
For me, it's amazing to see each of you and see the ways you challenged yourselves, and to see the way, you came in these amazing people with all these amazing skill sets. And then the way, really part of it is you got more confident on your way out. You got more confident using these skill sets and using them together, right? Yeah, we gave you some skills, we gave you some pieces, but we also gave you, and you took, right, a lot of opportunities, to a lot of repetitions with using them. And then you went out and, oh my gosh, look at you. That's amazing. There's another question here I saw about the management and leadership certificate, particularly as a business owner, if they're, the cost of it and everything. So that certificate in and of itself, like, what can that do for you?
A lot. All right, that's it. We're gonna keep going. Just kidding. It's pretty tremendous, and that leadership certificate, particularly, I remember in the first class we were going over a cultural audit that Dr. B went over, and it was a Harvard Business Review cultural audit. In reading through it, the big part of it was like challenge versus invitation cultures, which, like, you have to attend a lecture if you know what those words mean. But what was amazing was I actually deployed that within the same week to my small team of 7 people in one of my companies. And first off, I had a tremendous response, and it was actually actionable. So it wasn't something that was just like, oh, theoretically, this is cool, and you kind of put on your bookshelf for later use. It's stuff that you're using right away as a small business owner that's making a very real impact on the business. And I know I was watching little chat bubbles pop up there already that's like, hey, how much is a program? Is $30,000. I have made that up probably 3 times over with some of the changes that I've made to my small businesses, and I'm still inside of the program. So there's a very real impact that you have on the business. And specifically that first leadership certificate, I believe that's when we did Hogan assessment. Is that correct, Dr. B? And I remember with the Hogan assessment, I sat down, and it's an undertaking. It's like a 2-hour proctored deep dive into who you are as a person. But when I came out with it, I didn't necessarily agree with the answers right away. But the more that I spent time on it, it really helped me develop those leadership skills and really show me some of the blind spots that I have in my own business leadership. So it's helped me kind of conform some of the different practices into real world results. And just going back into the buy-in that the professors have in you, after doing my Hogan assessment and being argumentative about it, which I don't know why I was, to go back, and Dr. B said, okay, let's actually implement this then. And I'm a business developer, so there's other different organizations I work with. And she's like, when's the time you can implement this? So one of them was I had this really weird presentation with a business owner I was nervous about. I'm like, look, this is something I need to focus on. And she said, okay, cool. And on my way back from that meeting, Dr. B was sending me emails like, hey, how'd the meeting go? What was the follow-up? Did you do this? So they actually care about your development, right? It's not something that's just, it's not this template. You're not just a number. They're actually following up with you. And I think that a lot of that came from that first certificate we did, which is the management certificate. To answer that question, I almost started crying there, Dr. B. That was crazy.
That was pretty awesome. Thank you. That was, yeah, we have a lot of fun and there's like pain involved, right, in growth, but it's good stuff.
I just want to make a quick comment. Nick mentioned something about the cost. So I'm a veteran, right? So if there's any questions about being a veteran, all it was a very simple 5-minute application to get a $5,000 scholarship through OU through the veterans program, right? And then a lot of companies have tuition reimbursement as well. So I can tell you I paid nearly half of what the overall cost of the tuition was. But now, in hindsight, it was a no-brainer, right? Like, I mean, they're giving you money to go to school, and then the difference that it's going to make in your career path going forward, with the difference in money. I mean, once you do the math, and again, I'm like Nick. I in high school I took algebra 3 times, so I got you there, Nick. Right? So, but I could figure out that if my salary increased, 5 figures year after year for 5 years, that's much better than working an hourly job, or much better than being stuck in a dead-end job where there is no growth, and there's no growth. So it's one of those coming to terms. You got to come to terms with yourself and just say, do I do this, or do I stay comfortable and do the same thing for the rest of my life with no gain in quality of life from a financial perspective? Or do you take the dive and become an MSM graduate?
Can I ask a panelist a question? Is that a thing I can do?
Do it.
All right, cool. Hey, Marius, we were just talking about like the personal development, the professional development, how it helped. Did that help you with your podcast, you think?
Oh, absolutely. Just being able to, if anything, host the fireside Q&As, getting used to interviewing folks. I did a lot of one-on-ones, just reaching out to people, friends of the university, just kind of getting to know them, basically setting up things behind the scenes. And if anything, being able to interact with like CEOs and executive level folks, just me, myself, sending out emails, getting in those Zoom rooms one-on-one, just kind of telling them about the fireside Q&A, about the MSM program. That was a huge confidence booster, because it was kind of breaking down those walls, understanding that, at the end of the day, they're folks just like us. They're getting anxious about these interviews. They're excited in some of these cases about these interviews, and they're really just wanting to connect, give back to the university. So that was one of those things that I feel like really gave me a little bit of passion in wanting to hear other people's stories and wanting to start those dialogues, because I realized, like, once you get somebody talking, you'll be so surprised by the things that can come from that. So I definitely would say that helped me, get that passion going for the podcast.
I do want to add one thing, Dr. B. What I'm excited about is, and again, I'm, coming up to, I said 10 years before retirement. What I'm excited about is, now that I know Nick and Maria and Marius, right, I want to watch their careers, right? From here on out, we'll be, forever in touch. And I'm so excited. Like, Maria is inspiring because she is taking the bull by the horns, right? Like, everybody here has done that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm impressed. Like, I'm sitting here going, these people are pretty damn awesome. Like, had I done that at their age, who knows where I would be, right? Nick and Marius, I mean, I've seen you guys over the last, 2 years or so. And I got to tell you, it's impressive for me. So I'm excited for you, right? Maybe that's the dad in me, right? Like, I'm probably old enough to be your dad, but it's just like, I get excited when people try to do better for themselves and push themselves. So I just wanted to say that because you guys are awesome. So
Absolutely true. I want to hear, Maria, do you have anything else for us in general, or as a woman in business, or really just anything that you want to add?
Yeah, so in joining this program, I kind of helped kickstart the MSM leadership, student leadership board,
Yes.
which was a great undertaking, and I'm glad to see that it is alive and still doing very well. And what that kind of helped me do is get my confidence and kind of get that leadership mojo back I don't want to say I lost, but it kind of hid in a closet within myself during my restaurant days. Yeah, and this program just kind of reawakened that for me and kind of lit a fire under me to make a better life for myself, which I have very much done in the past year or so. But yeah, this program is great, and I highly recommend it. They're talking about price of program. I was an out-of-state student. I'm not sure if you can tell, I'm not from the state of Ohio. But the tuition cost, it has the ROI on it has already paid for itself in my career change and kind of climbing up the corporate ladder. It has helped. This program has helped me get there, which the return on it has paid for itself, which is great.
That's amazing. And you jumped in, you started it all up, and you were just relentless at getting it going, which I absolutely loved. And it's just amazing to see, each person just take off.
there's a question about if there's somebody else to reach out to other than myself for the military. And actually, I just did that during the application process. So when you go through the application process, they ask if you have any prior military experience, and I said yeah, and they were like, okay, let me check that box. And I was like, that's it? You don't need my DD-214 or anything like that? And they said, well, yeah, we'll probably need a copy of it, which is not a big deal. But that was it. That was as painful as it was. It was a simple question, and I think sending in a digital copy of my DD-214. So if that's the question, I mean that's really the answer for it, because it was an easy process. I don't think there was anything difficult at all about applying to the MSM program. It was fairly painless. I think it was much easier than applying for University of Akron. So I will say that.
Yeah, and just to throw out that is there anyone else you can connect with? I can think of a multiple. We actually just did a podcast episode on Keith Carr, who is a veteran. He served quite a long time, and he has a very interesting story. So you can check out the Leader Lounge podcast, which is a nice little plug. But at the same time, I know that he was active service Navy.
Yep.
Navy. And then we also have he should be graduating roughly the same time as me. Jason Radcliffe is Coast Guard. There's actually a lot of different service members in the MSM program, and they are all very willing to share their experiences. So yeah, you will definitely not be alone as a veteran. And thank you for your service as well.
And I think to Albert's point, it is pretty straightforward to start applying for the program. I just wanted to share, if anybody has not spoken to somebody from the enrollment team, we are available and happy to help. So if you'd want to give a call again, it's 740-924-5725. And also my email address, I should have put that in there, but I'd be happy to also, if you've got questions, and our team can support, but if you'd like to email me directly as well, my email is SS, so 2 S's, and then 996523. So 996523 at ohio.edu. So I'd be happy to take questions as well. I can get those passed along to the panelists and to Dr. B. We can get some of those answered